Good morning, Javatarians. Welcome to the concept of arrays. What is an array, you might ask? Well, let me answer that. It's a group of items, all of the same type, which are accessed through a single identifier. So instead of just storing one integer at a time like we were doing before, we can store 10. Now the creating and defining the variable looks a little bit different, but the only difference is those brackets there. That's what tells Java it's going to be an array of integers rather than a single one. On the right-hand side is where we use the keyword new, and we tell Java how many there will be. The brackets on the left-hand side are empty. The right-hand side says how many elements will be in that array. And as usual, when we're talking about the position in the array, we start counting at 0, so we're off by 1. So it's nums 0, nums 1, nums 2, etc. Now, the name nums doesn't have any of the integers in it. It just refers to the spot where we keep the information. So nums will have the location, the address of the numbers that we've stored. So for example, nums would have this value stored in it, and that's the location of these three objects, these three integers. The array itself is considered an object because it has a reference. The name merely has the location of it in memory. So for example, we create this new integer array with 3 values in it. By default, integers all get the value 0, so it'll store 0, 0, 0. And what gets stored in the location named nums is where it's located in memory. So this strange looking hexadecimal number is where these 3 zeros are stored in the memory of the computer. We've already actually seen an array when we talk about strings. A string is really just an array of characters. So comp sci would have S position 0, position 1, all the way down to position 6. And again, that's why it's off by 1, position 0 through 6, even though the length is 7. So what we call the first position is really position 0. Integer of arrays with 10 of them. Until we give them assignments, arrays are filled with default values. So for integers, they would all get zeros until we specifically give them values. And the default value depends on what the type of data is. A string would just get a blank, nothing there. Now, the thing about arrays is you can never change the size of an array. Once you say it's got 10 elements in it, it always has 10 elements in it. If you need a bigger array, you have to create a new array and copy all the old values over and then add the new information. So it's fixed in size. It's always got the same number of values in it. To declare one, if you want something other than the default values, you can do something like this. Put in braces, separated by commas, the values you want. Java will be able to know that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 integers long, so it'll save room for 6 integers, and put the values that you specify in each slot. That's one way of avoiding the default values. You can specify it right away. Notice you don't need the new int with the number 6 in braces. It figures that out when you give it the values. I will use the term index when referring to the position in an array. So this is index 0, index 1. You'll also hear the term or see the term spot. It means the same thing. It's just where it is in the array. I'll usually use the word index because that's what I'm used to, but some people will call it a spot. So again, the first index is always 0, and the index is always an integer. Well, just as a quick example, array init. Let's take a look at it. Okay. There's a few different arrays in here. It creates this array of 10 integers, but gives it no values, so they're all going to be zeros. To print an individual value, use the name of the array. In this case, the name is 0. And then afterwards, in brackets, you tell which position you want. So I want in array 0, print whatever's in index 1. Down here, we declare an array of integers the other way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we use print line again. So we're gonna print whatever's in position 0, position 2, position 5, and again that means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This element here is what's nums 5 in the array nums position 5. You can have an array of strings. So we have set 10 elements here. We've only defined 2. The others are going to have nothing in them. But in position 0, we'll have ABC. In position 4, we'll have DEF. Okay. Tell you what, let's compile it. Let's run it so you can see what happens. Okay. So up in here, this array has no value, so it's by default. Everything in here is a 0, so we print the 0. Here we print what's in position 0, 1, 2, and 5. Because we're off by 1, we get the values 1, 2, 3, and 6 coming from here. Right. The string array. We print what's in position 0. That's the ABC. We print what's in position 4. That's the DEF. And we try to print what's in position 1, but there's nothing there. So we get this word we'll see from time to time called null. Right. We put no string in there, so there's nothing to print, so it tells us null. Okay. And as far as defining the size of a variable, or of an array, you can use a variable. So we make size equal to 10. So that's telling Java this is an integer array of size 10, or of length 10. Now the world's most boring array is one with nothing in it whatsoever. We've made this array numList. It's not even full of zeros. It's nothing whatsoever. That's why we get this null pointer. The variable for numList should point to the location in memory where the array is, but there is no location, so we're pointing to nothing, a null pointer exception. So every once in a while you'll make something equal to null accidentally. When there's nothing there, it's because you're pointing at nothing, you'll get that exception. That's the end of the initial recording. I'll have one more for you in a moment.